Christian Horner commented on the criticism of Max from McLaren. Lando Norris stated that he wouldn't have fought differently after analyzing his collision with Max. Mercedes received additional time for aerodynamic testing. This is Formula One news, and we are starting. Christian Horner commented on the criticism of Max from McLaren. After the controversial Austrian Grand Prix, Max Verstappen faced a lot of criticism from both fans and people directly involved in Formula One. McLaren team principal Stella also criticized Max's aggressive defensive style, stating that his collision with Lando was a result of the FIA being too lenient towards Max's aggressive actions in 2021, thereby legitimizing them. Christian Horner responded to these accusations, defending his driver and stating that Max would not change his approach and that Stella's accusations were wrong and unfair. Certainly from Max's side, he's not going to change. There's an element, I think, of Lando learning how to race Max, and they're discovering that. Inevitably, there is going to be more close racing between the two of them as the cars look so close over the forthcoming races. Max is a hard racer. He's probably one of the hardest racers on the circuit, and everybody knows that if you're going to race against Max, he's going to give as good as he gets. He was punished in 2021 if he did something wrong, just as Lewis, who he was racing so hard that year, was for things he did wrong. I think it's wrong and unfair to label a driver like that, and I'm sure in the heat of the moment it was frustrating for Andrea, but that's just tough racing. He worked with Michael Schumacher for so many years. He of all people should know that. Lando Norris stated that he would not change what he did in his battle with Max in Austria, even though their fight ended in a collision. The contact between him and Max was a controversial event of that Grand Prix. Opinions were divided on whether Max deserved a 10-second penalty, whether he was at fault, and whether Lando could have avoided the collision. The drivers themselves fueled interest in this topic, especially after the race when Lando said he would lose respect for Max if Max claimed he did nothing wrong. But now, with time having passed and emotions settled, Norris stated that he does not regret his actions and looks forward to new battles. I reviewed everything. We've gone over stuff. And let's say I won't really change what I did. I was fighting, and that's what we want. We want to fight. We don't want to complain. We don't want things to end like they did, both from Max's side and from my side. So that's life sometimes. We're fighting, we both want to win, and we're going to push it to the limits, some slightly more than others. At the same time, I'm excited. We're going to have more fights together, and I look forward to those times. Norris also commented on how difficult it can be to accurately determine the position of your car in the heat of battle, so drivers can make small mistakes that are not intentional. It's never as easy as saying, "Why did you do that? Why didn't you do this?" It's so hard to be as accurate as what it looks like on TV, so when it is those 2 centimeters that it should be or stuff like that, it's almost impossible to judge, said the Briton. Mercedes received an additional 10% of aerodynamic testing time due to their position in the Constructors' Championship. According to the rules, the amount of time in the wind tunnel and the computational fluid dynamics capacity that can be used during a 2-month testing period is determined by the team's position in the championship. Thus, the team that takes first place has 70% of the baseline time, and the time for other teams increases in 5% increments. Until now, Mercedes had 75% of the testing time as they took second place in the Constructors' Championship last year, but due to the reset that took place on June 30th, Mercedes will now receive 85% of the time for their 4th place in the Constructors' Championship. This means that the Brackley team receives 32 more wind tunnel runs, 8 more hours of wind-on time when airspeed exceeds 15 mph, 200 more allowable geometries, and 40 hours more of wind tunnel occupancy. Meanwhile, Red Bull remained at 70%, Ferrari and McLaren received less time at 75% and 80% respectively. The team that lost the most testing time was Haas. Last season, they finished last and had a rate of 115%, but now they occupy 7th place and have 15% less testing time. That's all for today. Did you enjoy the video? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's follow the latest news from Formula One together.